Hey everyone, it's Lauren, and today we are talking about my 2017 reading goals, channel goals, and then at the end we're going to touch on my January TBR. So reading goals for this year, I want to read 75 books this year. Now the way that I do that is it's 75 new books. This past year I read 78 new books as tracked by my Goodreads reading challenge from this past year. I had a goal of 52 books or one book per week, and then I ended up reading, I believe, 78. So that was really cool. On top of that, I reread a lot of books. The number of times I reread the Percy Jackson books or some of the Harry Potter books. It was a lot. This year I want to read 75 new books. I might switch it up and allow some rereads to count for that. Another one of my goals for this year is to read different books. Now, I was looking over what I read this past year, and I read a lot of the same things. Now, I understand that there's merit to reading what you like, but I also think that it's important to not just stay stuck in a reading rut of one genre or one type of book or something like that, but to branch out and experiment with other kinds of books, because if you haven't read it, how will you know if you like it or not? I mean, there's some kinds of books that I'm pretty sure I won't like, so I'm just going to stay away from them. Like, I don't read a lot of just straight up romance books because I don't really like them, and I don't think that they're beneficial to me. Not that every book has to be beneficial to me, but romance, for example, is a genre that I don't read a lot of. I read books with romance in them, but not just romance books. But I want to read a lot of different kinds of books, so I'm working on incorporating them into my TBRs for each month. You'll see some on my January TBR. Now, different doesn't have to mean extraordinarily different. Sometimes it's a different format. Like, I want to get into some graphic novels and some manga this year and just read a little bit more of that. I've read some manga before, but I haven't read any in a while, so I'm gonna jump back into that a little bit and see what's out there and just see what other kinds of books. If you guys have any suggestions, please share them with me. I always love book recommendations. I'm also trying to whittle down my TBR list some, because I was looking at my shelves the other day and I have a lot of books on my shelves that I haven't read yet, and that's just really sad to me that I have all these books that I paid really good money for, some of them not a lot of money but still really good money for, and they're just sitting there not being read. So I want to be digging through that pile. I'll be making a list soon of all of the books that I haven't read that are on my shelves and figuring out how many there are and if it's feasible for me to get through all of them in this year. If not, then I'll probably choose a subset of them to get through this year and plan it out across the next couple years. So we'll see how all of that goes. I'm not giving myself a book buying ban. I am still allowing myself to buy books, just not extraordinarily frequently, and I have to have a really good reason for buying the book. I'm going to be making more use of my library, which I keep on doing. I love going to my local library and picking up books from there. And I have some goals for my channel this year as well. I am going to keep making videos, so I hope y'all are a fan of that. I definitely am. I really enjoy doing this. I love talking about books, and I'm so glad that I get to do it with all of you guys. I'm planning on getting more involved in the community this upcoming year, keep watching other people's videos, and just engaging more and talking to more people in the community. This past, I don't even know how many months I've been doing this now. The past few months have been kind of hectic, so I haven't been able to jump in as much as I've wanted to, but I'm excited that I do get a chance, and I'm going to make this a little bit more of a priority in the upcoming year to just keep pouring into this community here. I also want to finally get on a posting schedule so you guys can expect when to see videos from me instead of this semi-sporadic, like about once a week. Oh look, we did twice a week this week, go you. And where did you go? Did you fall off the face of the earth? Thing that I've been doing so far. I want to be posting once a week. I haven't chosen a day that I'll be posting videos. My gut instinct at the moment is like, maybe Thursday is a good idea. I don't know what it is about Thursday, but that gives me enough time to film and edit over the weekends and some time midweek to make sure I have everything prepped. So we'll see. Thursdays might be a good choice. Still figuring that one out. Those are my reading and my channel goals. Do you guys make goals like this every year? If so, I'd love to hear about them. And now let's move on and talk about my January TBR. I'm super excited about this. We'll see how many books I can get through in January because I've put 5 on my list. We're already a little ways into January and I haven't started any of these books yet. I've been in a little bit of a book slump recently. I just keep on re-listening to some of my audiobooks because my apartment needs to get cleaned and there are other things that I need to do that's not very conducive to actually reading books. So I have physical copies for all of these and not audiobooks, so I'm going to have to carve out some time to just sit down and get some quality reading in. So with all of that said, let's take a look at these books. So these are the 5 books I'm trying to get through. We'll start at the top and work our way down. The first book, surprise, surprise, is Vasa in the Night by Sarah Porter. Now, as you guys know, I've had this on my list for a while, and yes, I still haven't read it. It was on my before the end of 2016 TBR. And I didn't read it. I went to visit family and we got busy and I didn't have as much reading time. So Vasa in the Night did not happen in 2016, but I'm thinking 2017 is definitely the year for this book, especially since we're in January and you know, there's a whole year ahead of us. But January is the month for Vasa in the Night. Next on my list is Ever the Hunted by Erin Summerall. And this is another uppercase book that I got. This was from my December uppercase box, and I think it looks like a really interesting book, and I want to read it. I want to be up to date on my uppercase books because I do get a new one every month, and that is something I am definitely continuing throughout 2017 because I've really enjoyed getting them so far. So Ever the Hunted is on my January TBR, and probably in the first half of the month because if all of my reading goes really well after I get my January uppercase box, I might try to read that before the end of January as well because I'd really love to start reading my uppercase books in the month that I get them or the first half of the next month before my next book comes so I don't get an uppercase book box pileup, which has happened before. Next on my list is Helen of Troy by Margaret George. This was given to me by my best friend for Christmas, and I'm super excited to read this. If you guys haven't figured out, I'm a big fan of Greek history and mythology and that entire genre. I mean, I read Sophocles in December just for fun. I love all of the playwrights. I love the stories. If you haven't figured out, like, that's part of the reason why I love the Percy Jackson series so much. But I'm going to work on getting through Helen of Troy this January, and I am super excited to dig into this book. Next on my list is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and this was also on my December TBR, also didn't happen, also because of the same reasons that Vasa in the Night didn't happen. I've had this since January, and I just realized there's this really ugly sticky spot here on the cover that I still need to get off. But I've had this book for a while. It sounds fascinating. It's set during World War II. I got it when I was kind of on a World War II genre or World War II sub-genre-ish sort of trajectory. Last summer I was really into books about World War II set during World War II. I can't wait to dive into The Nightingale, and this also fits with part of my plan for reading more different books. Yes, it's World War II and I do read different books about World War II, but it's a novel and it's not YA. I realized last year just how much YA I was reading, and there's nothing wrong with YA. I just want to branch out more. So The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna on the list. And last but not least is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, but not the normal Pride and Prejudice, the manga version. I was wandering around my library before Christmas and I found this book, and I adore Pride and Prejudice. I love the book. I love Elizabeth Bennet. I love how Jane structured her characters. So I'm really excited to read this manga version of it and see how it's interpreted in this format. So I have 5 books on my TBR for January. That doesn't sound that bad, right? It sounds doable. I mean, 1 week is already gone in January, but we'll see how the rest of the month goes. I'm excited to be going through those books. I'm also excited to be using my 2017 planner from Uppercase. At the beginning of every month, there's a reading log here, so I can put down the books that I'm reading, the author, when I started them. I can fill in this little bar with all of my progress. I can put the date finished and give it a rating here. I know I already do all of this through Goodreads, but it's kind of fun to have a physical thing that I can carry around with me, and it combines calendar with reading log and I already have like a 2017 planner that I put my life into just to keep everything straight. So I'm excited to start using this upcoming year as well. So that is my 2017 reading channel goals and my January TBR. I'm really excited for what this upcoming year looks like in the bookish world and related to all of the bookish things that I'm doing. So have you guys made any reading goals or channel goals if you have a booktube channel for this upcoming year? I'd love if you'd share them with me down below. Also, if you have a January TBR, let me know what's on it. I'd love to talk books. As you can tell, I love books. Are you reading any of the same books that I am? Have you read any of these? Did you like them? Did you not? I'd love to hear your thoughts on them, as long as there aren't any spoilers in them, because I am not a fan of spoilers. So let's just keep that slightly spoiler free down there. That would be great. Thanks, guys. As always, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep seeing videos like this from me. If you want to know every single time I upload a video and not just sporadically whenever YouTube happens to tell you about it, click the little bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.